Kiran had always been a warrior, strong, decisive, and fearless. From a young age, she had fought and triumphed over countless battles, both on the battlefield and in the challenges of life. Her reputation as an unstoppable force had spread far and wide, and people from distant lands came to seek her counsel and strength. She was a legend, admired and feared for her courage and determination. Yet, no battle had prepared her for the one she was about to face. It started on an ordinary morning, as she stood atop a mountain overlooking the vast land that stretched out before her. The sun was just beginning to rise, casting its golden rays over the valley below. Birds fluttered through the air and the wind whispered through the trees. But despite the beauty of the scene, something was amiss. A strange sense of unease lingered in the air, as if the earth itself was holding its breath. Kiran had been summoned by the elders of her village, who spoke of an ancient prophecy. It was said that one day a path would appear, leading to a place beyond the mountains, beyond the reach of even the bravest warriors. This path would challenge everything that one believed to be true, and only the most resolute would be able to follow it. The elders had waited for years for the arrival of this path, and now they believed it had finally revealed itself. Kiran, always ready to face any challenge, had not hesitated. The idea of an unseen path intrigued her. She was no stranger to danger, and this was no ordinary adventure. It was a call to prove her mettle in ways she had never imagined. She gathered her gear and set off alone, leaving behind the safety of the village and its familiar surroundings. The mountains loomed high, their peaks shrouded in mist, as she made her way through dense forests and rocky trails. The journey was arduous, and many times Kiran felt the weight of uncertainty pressing against her chest. There was no clear map to guide her, no compass to point her in the right direction. It was as though the land itself was hiding its secrets, testing her will. Days turned into weeks, and Kiran pressed on, her resolve unwavering. She crossed treacherous rivers, scaled towering cliffs, and navigated dense, uncharted forests. The deeper she ventured into the wilderness, the more isolated she felt. The air grew colder and the landscape more barren. Yet there was something within her that refused to turn back. She had faced countless battles before, but this one felt different. It was a battle of faith, not just strength. On the 10th day of her journey, she reached a clearing at the edge of a great chasm. The ground dropped away before her, and an endless void stretched out into the horizon. She stared at the abyss, the unknown waiting to swallow her whole. It was the path she had been seeking, but it seemed impossible. There was no bridge, no visible way forward, only a vast and unforgiving chasm. Kiran stood at the edge for what felt like hours, contemplating the sheer impossibility of the situation. The whispers of the wind seemed to mock her. Every instinct screamed at her to turn around, to return to the safety of the mountains she knew, to the warriors who had always stood by her. But she had come this far. She had faced countless challenges, and if there was one thing she had learned, it was that the greatest victories often came from the most difficult journeys. Just as she was about to take a step back, she felt a strange pull. It wasn't a physical force, but a subtle nudge from deep within, a calling to move forward, even though she couldn't see the way. It was as though the universe itself was urging her to trust, to believe that the path would reveal itself if she only had the courage to take the first step. And so she did. With a deep breath, Kiran took her first step into the unknown. At first, nothing happened. The ground beneath her feet felt solid, yet there was no sign of any visible path. She took another step, then another, and with each step, the road seemed to materialize beneath her feet, as if the earth was responding to her faith and determination. It wasn't a clear, defined path, but a faint trail that appeared just ahead of her, leading her forward into the abyss. The feeling of uncertainty was overwhelming, but Kiran kept walking. With each step, the path grew more defined, more secure. It was as though the very act of moving forward was creating the way, and with each step, she gained more confidence. The ground beneath her feet felt firmer, and the void that had once seemed so terrifying now seemed less intimidating. The chasm was still there, but it no longer felt like an insurmountable obstacle. It was just another part of the journey, another challenge to overcome. As Kiran walked deeper into the abyss, she realized that the true nature of the path was not one that could be seen or mapped out ahead of time. It was a path of trust, a path that only revealed itself when one took the leap into the unknown. Days passed, and Kiran continued her journey through the abyss, the path unfolding before her with every step she took. She faced trials along the way, storms that threatened to blow her off course, wild animals that lurked in the shadows, and moments of doubt that made her question whether she was truly on the right path. But each time, she found the strength to push forward, trusting that the path would lead her to where she needed to be. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, Kiran emerged from the abyss. Before her lay a vast and breathtaking valley, bathed in the light of the setting sun. The land was rich with life, and she could see rivers flowing through lush meadows, animals grazing peacefully, and birds soaring high above. It was a place unlike any she had ever seen, a place of peace and harmony. Kiran stood at the edge of the valley, taking in the beauty before her. She had made it. The unseen path had led her to a new world, one that was beyond anything she could have imagined. It was a world of possibility, of hope, and of new beginnings. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Kiran realized the true lesson of her journey. It was not the destination that mattered, but the faith and trust she had placed in the path itself. The hardest journey is often the one where the way is not visible, where the road ahead is uncertain, and where every step requires courage. But it is in those moments of uncertainty that we grow the most, that we discover our true strength, and that we learn to trust in the process of life. The unseen path was never about the destination, it was about the journey and the courage to walk it, even when the way ahead seemed unclear. Moral lesson. Sometimes the most challenging journeys in life are the ones where the path is hidden, and we must take each step in faith. Trusting the process, even when we cannot see the outcome, is where true growth lies.